Well, good evening. Here I am taping this video. I am Bob Grier. I am the owner, purveyor, chief bottle washer at Grier's Publishing, our little publishing place from Hanoverton, Ohio. Hello there. I hope the lighting is good. Yeah, I think the lighting's pretty good. Hey, I want to talk about reading. I want to talk about you teaching your kids how to read. I want you to think about reading again. Reading we perceived as a chore. At some point in our life, reading became a chore, but something you were forced to do. When you were in first grade or second grade, they taught you your ABCs, and then you moved through the process of learning how to read. And reading became acquainted completely with school. Reading is something that you have to do, boys and girls. To get an A or a B, you have to be able to read. Outside of school, well, we don't read so much, okay? This actually worked out. I used to work in corrections. It wasn't that long ago. And we would get juvenile delinquents who would come in from attention centers to our home. We actually ran a boys' home. And these young men, when you're in attention, you're actually in a cell. And the only thing you can do is read. And so they would read all the time. They had books there that they would pick and they would read. When they came to us, I would ask them, because a few of them would still read, but most of them wouldn't. And I would say, well, why did you guys stop reading? I don't understand why you stopped reading. Oh, well, Mr. Bob, that's something that we only do when we're in attention. So once again, reading was perceived as a bad thing that you had to do. And I think that that's kind of a place where we've gotten to in society, where we perceive reading as less than something else. And in fact, that's not even close to true. As a purveyor, obviously, of Grier's Publishing, I want you to read. I want your kids to read. I want everybody to read. I want to live in a bigger house. Hey, life is good. There's also a process these days. The University of Sussex over in England did a really interesting study. And they actually hooked up gizmos to people's heads and stuff. And they had them doing different activities before bedtime to try to figure out what would reduce anxiety. We live in a society where anxiety is just pervasive. Everyone's suffering some type of anxiety. And so we take pills, we go to gurus, we do whatever we can to get over it. What they found was, if you read for 6 minutes, 6 minutes, you put yourself inside of some piece of literature or a technical manual on a Buick, who cares, okay? 6 minutes reduced your anxiety level 68%. 2/3 of whatever was making you anxious has now melted away. 2/3 of it in 6 minutes. 360 seconds took you to that place. Reading is a place of imagination. Reading is a place where you literally have to go somewhere else in your mind. Reading makes your eyes work. It makes your mind work. But it also helps to alleviate all of that tremendous stress that we're really feeling these days. The problem, of course, is how do I get my young person or myself to actually take the time to read? It's interesting with our kids, for the most part. I have no idea what kids find interesting these days. I know when I was a kid, what I found interesting, I have no idea. They're on their phone. All they're doing is look at their phone, following Facebook, Snapchatting their buddy or whatever they're doing. Then they're going to watch the same movie they watched last night because it was so good. You have to find out what is it that might interest your children. And I really believe at a much younger age, but even when they get older, they're going to have interests, things that interest them. Find out what they are. Find out what things might interest them. Have the conversation. Hey, I would like for you to read, but not as a chore. I want to talk about this book with you. Read it yourself, which is a really good idea. And I want you to spend 10, 15 minutes a day, not in the chore of reading the book, but reading the book. There are a lot of really, really good books that I would find interesting. I think my daughter just bought Sherlock Holmes, which is mysterious, okay? But she's actually reading Sherlock Holmes now, which I would never have believed was going to happen. Find something that they find interesting. This whole video is encouraging you and encouraging the people in your life. Encourage them to read. Reading will open you up. Reading is a lot like fishing. I always correlate the two, okay? If you catch a really big fish at a young age, you typically are a fisherman for life because you're always looking to catch the next great fish. I know I've been doing that now for 40 some years. I want to catch that bass I caught back in 1970 something. It's the same thing with a book. If you ever read a really, really, really great book, then you just keep picking them up, trying to find that one again. I want to feel, maybe it's like falling in love. I want to feel like that again. When I turn that last page, I want to go, oh my God, that was a trip worth taking. You don't get that in the other avenues, okay? I am Bob. This is Grier's Publishing. There's me, there's Connie Stellick, there's Eunice. Connie's won more awards than me and Eunice. She's probably a better author, but don't tell her that. We do. If you got a couple of bucks, buy a book. We'd really appreciate it. I got to pay the rent, okay? Life is good. But this video is really about encouraging you. Believe in yourself. Believe in your children. People who know how to read, reading is power, knowledge is power. You want to send your kids off to school, you want your kids to be successful, teach your kids to not only read, but to enjoy reading. Thank you.